Hi, we have newly added this sports recruitment module or hub where we have included all possible sports which are played in the country, in the US. For example, we have swimming, squash, tennis, soccer, basketball, and everything else you can imagine. So, lots of sports. So, if you want to say figure out first thing what athlete or a student has to do is to fill his athletic profile, and this is where you would fill your basic information like what sport you want to play. For example, if I want to play squash, I'll just say squash, what position do I play, if it is relevant, right? What name of the club or team, how many years of experience I have, how many hours per week I trained in that sport. Uh, am I playing in D1, D2, D3, or maybe undecided? What is my ranking in US, in North America, or in the world? What is my ranking in the state? If it is something where you have timings for a sport like swimming and stuff like that, you can include your 100-meter butterfly, how many minutes, seconds, and stuff like that, right? Similarly, what kind of competitions I've participated, when was the date, what I've achieved, if I got a first prize or gold, I should mention that. All the levels I've played, national, international, state, district. So a lot of information you have to fill in so that the application knows about your athletic profile in terms of gauging or evaluating your strength in this sport and also the fitment for the top programs for this sport in the nation. So that is one thing. Second is then we also have how basically some tips on how the whole recruitment process work. So we have included a playbook for sports recruitment, and then similarly what the sample email template or the email should be to the coach. We have also included the template here, which you can use to kind of start getting in touch with all the coaches in that sport for that university, right? To start some initial contact and stuff like that. And then this NCAA eligibility. For example, if you're NCAA Division 1, then what are the academic qualifications which are required? For example, minimum 2.3 GPA and all that stuff. So a lot of information is given here. So you can go through that. And then we have an AI advisor to whom you can ask direct question about some examples of questions could be how do I get recruited for D1 swimming? What am I, for example, let me click here, right? And then you get an answer for that question in detail. Uh, and then okay, this should pop up pretty soon. And then we have a voice coach which I'm going to give a demo very soon. But what interesting is I wanted to show, for example, for every single sport what you can do. So if you go here, just move this. So if I go here, sports and programs, so let me click on swimming. So for the, if you go to the swimming page, it kind of tells you, gives an overview of how tough or easy this program or this sports would be in all the top colleges in the US. And then this gives you what should be your comprehensive recruitment strategy for this sport for each of these colleges. For example, build your database early and identify all the events where you want to participate, attend 2, 3 swim college camps, all that stuff, right? So please go over it. What kind of scholarships are available for sport, for swimming in top programs? Then what is the selection criteria, right? All details. And then what is your academic requirements for swimming by program tier. For example, if you want to apply for all the Ivy Leagues plus schools like Stanford and Caltech and stuff like that, then you should have minimum 3.5 GPA plus GPA, 1350 SAT and stuff like that. And then what does the coach look at, right? So the coaches look at your personal best times in all competitive events for swimming, their SCY, LCM, SCM, for USA swimming time standards achieved, national age group rankings, and all that stuff. Similarly, if you want to go to some other sport, you go back here. Okay, so let me go back to swimming. One more thing I want to tell you. So there are, what I also what we have also included is all the top programs who are hiring, or the top colleges who are hiring athletes or sports people in swimming. So Stanford is number one. If I click here, it tells me the name of the coach who is from Stanford for swimming, both for men and women. What is their email address? How you can get in touch with that coach? The coach's profile. If I click here, I should. Okay, so this maybe this page is not working, but you should basically see the website of the coach and all that stuff. And let me go back. And then what should be your recruitment strategy? What are the baseline expectations for recruits? For example, you should have a timing of 43.5 for 100 free, 135 for 200 free, and 420 for 500 free. If you want to look at all the details in terms of requirements, if you click here, you will see here very clearly what are men's benchmarks by different divisions. For example, for D1 elite, you should have a timing of 19.5 seconds to 20.5 seconds for 50-meter free. For 100-meter free, it is 42.5 to 42.5. For women, again, for 50 free, it is 22.5 to 23.5. Similarly, what is the NCAA eligibility for this sport? All those details are here and stuff like that, right? If I go to some other sport, for example, say squash. So let me go back to all the sports. I will click on squash now. So you can see here everything about squash, how competitive squash is, and it's clearly highlighted that it is not an NCAA sanctioned sport. So there are no athletic scholarships. However, being a strong squash player can be significant boost to your admissions chances at elite schools. What strategy you have to follow if you want to apply as a squash player. All those details are given here. There is no scholarship availability for squash. You'll only be eligible for financial aid. What should be the selection criteria? For example, to be qualified as a recruiter for in the sport of squash, your national ranking should be in top 20 for Ivy League schools and in top 50 for NES CAC. And then international ranking, if applicable, could be huge differentiator and all stuff. And if I go to a benchmark here, then it is expecting your US squash ranking for D1 elite to be in top 5 to 8 ranks. For D1 mid-major, it should be in 8 to 20, and for D2 and D3, it should be in top 20 to 50 ranking. Similarly, there are some benchmarks for women, and then there are some other requirements. For example, you have to train at least 18 to 22 weeks per week, and then your win percentage has to be at least 60%, depending on what kind of competitions you participate in. And then if you're playing event like British Junior Open placement, you have to be in top 16 for D1, and then top 32 for D2, and then top 64 for D2 and D3. So this is a very comprehensive module which you added, and this covers every single sport in the US. If you want to look at all the top programs which are recruiting squash players in the US, so these are the universities: Harvard, Trinity, Yale, Princeton, Penn, Columbia, Drexel, George Washington, Williams, Middlebury, Bates, and stuff like that. And if you want to have a requirement for every single school for squash, for example, if I want to see what Drexel's requirements are, I just click here, and then I get to see who is the coach. It's John White. What is the email address to reach out to the coach or that school for this sport, and then the phone number of the coach, and what should be your recruiting strategy for Drexel in the sport of squash, and what exactly are the baseline expectations and all that stuff. So very comprehensive model. Please feel free to use it. Do provide us the feedback, and then we will improve if we feel that we need to address some gaps and some issues, if at all there are any. Thank you.